Link has had many companions throughout the years, from Navi all the way to Fi. But in Breath of the Wild there was an absence of the companion character, something I thought actually added more to the game, now that you don't have somebody interrupting you every 2 seconds anymore, but to me it still did feel like something was missing. And for a while I've been thinking about a mechanic they should have incorporated in Breath of the Wild, a mechanic that could have been expanded upon greatly and would add a lot of replayability to the game. In past games like Wind Waker and Spirit Tracks, we've seen Link control other characters. Characters like seagulls in the overworld, the statues in the Tower of the Gods, and even the sages in their respective temples. These were controllable in Wind Waker, and even in Spirit Tracks we could control Zelda herself. You could use seagulls to solve puzzles, use Medley to fly and utilize her harp that doubles as a mirror shield, and use Makar to plant trees that you could later hookshot to. These weren't companion characters like Navi and Fi, but they were there to help you and assist you when you needed them. Controlling teammates to solve puzzles or add a new layer to combat is something Nintendo has done before, and it's not something they're scared of doing. It was a simple idea with a lot that could be packed into it. You could do things like place a statue in one area to raise a bridge to cross, or have Link stand on it so the statue can cross, and then Link can get over himself. And we could use these abilities independent of the protagonist. Don't get me wrong, I love Majora's Mask to death, but I think a party member feature could be cool too. Things like more characters you could swap in or out, or that you could summon to help you solve puzzles and defeat enemies, similar to the way that you use a Hioi pair in Wind Waker to get things done. In the case of Majora's Mask, these characters weren't controllable separate from normal Link, as Link turned into these transformations himself, but they did, however, provide Link with unique abilities to use when he was, things like flying through the sky, and blowing bubbles in Deku form, rolling, punching, and Goron pounding as well, the Goron, and swimming and overall doing a bunch of cool shit as the Zora. Eventually, once you got all the masks in this game, you could reach the peak of your power at the end, transforming into the fierce deity, who still remains to be my favorite iteration of Link to this day. For a while, before the Champions Ballad came out, I theorized we would be able to play as the champions in the DLC, similar to Majora's Mask, with the transformations, but that ended up not being the case. Spirit Tracks, on the other hand, allowed us to control Zelda, who could take control of knights, some of which even had different abilities and ways to help Zelda on her own, besides just helping Link progress. This is one of the strongest implementations of a usable companion character, and I have high hopes that it might return. Come Breath of the Wild, and the most we have for a companion character is the Sheikah Slate. Like I said, this does add to your immersion in the game and how you tackle the world, but what about another alternative? In Breath of the Wild, if you had access to it, you could summon Wolf Link with the Wolf Link amiibo. With this, you could spawn the beast himself within your game, and he behaves pretty much the same way he does in Twilight Princess, avoiding cities and being spotted in public, and even teleporting around when he's spawned in, or if you walk a little too far. This feature is linked to Twilight Princess HD itself, and that depending on how many heart containers you had in that game, they could be transferred over to Wolf Link in Breath of the Wild and increase your health, provided your amiibo was linked to that save file. Of course you couldn't control Wolf Link, but what if you could? What if Nintendo got a little bit more in depth with the mechanic? Things like Link taming wildlife come to mind, and allowing the option to even control that wildlife to accomplish different things in the world, like solving puzzles, and maybe even fight enemies, similar to Wind Waker. But with an added progression system for your companions to add some growth over the playthrough. There was some sort of progression with taming horses and things like that, so what if they expanded on it? Make it so that over time, or with more use of your companions, you could gradually raise their health. Maybe they could have stats so they could deal more damage, with different ways to upgrade them. There could be many different options, like if you wanted different traits, you could have a tank and a water buffalo, maybe have a bear for an offensive pet, or a mix of the two in the great horned rhinoceros you can find in Hebra and places like that. There could be so many different options, and each one would have different traits, and maybe you could upgrade them in different ways. I would say you could have flying pets to help you fly, but I think Ultra Hand has us covered for that. But a taming system would be awesome. As for actually taming the animals, There's already systems in place where if you drop food or raw meat in front of animals, they'll go take it. So you could just incorporate that in some way and allow Link to domesticate animals for himself. Hell, this could even be one of the uses for the meat arrow we've seen the possibility of creating in the gameplay. Or they could have another combination. Who knows? Recently, I've been replaying through Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and I was remembering how much I enjoyed the Chow Garden section of the game. This would allow you to raise Chow in a specific garden tailored to them. You could specialize in different stats, align with light, neutral, or dark, and even if you were committed to the grind, you could even get yourself a Chaos Chow. You could upgrade them through finding pets or cores throughout your regular missions, and at the end, assuming you found a Chow key, you could enter the Chow Garden. Each stat would increase one of your Chow's specific skills, and they would get better at that skill in either the race mode or the karate mode. These were basic stats like swimming or climbing, but if you ask me, it would fit perfectly into the environment of Breath of the Wild and soon Tears of the Kingdom. I think, for example, like if you were exploring Elden Volcano or Death Mountain, places like that, maybe you want an Elden Ostrich with you because it's good at climbing in that region, maybe a mountain goat, or things like that. You could even go more in depth with it, things like having an elemental chew with you for whatever you need at the time, be it fire in a cold area, cold in a warm area, or as a way to have on-the-spot electricity. Companions with special traits unique to them could also exist. These are just ideas though. But anyway, I'm rambling. Back to the Chow Garden. Depending on how much time you invested into your Chow, they could be as strong or as weak in whatever stat you wanted. Chow also had an alignment system, where depending on which team you raised them with, hero or dark, and depending on what alignment your Chow fell into, you unlocked a garden, and the side activities they could participate in could also lead to game completion. This feature alone has me and many other players coming back to this game time and time again. So just imagine if a game like Zelda in Tears of the Kingdom had a system similar to this. We've already seen Fuse, which has to be one of the most genius mechanics to be added to any Zelda game, and being what it is, providing infinite possibilities for weapon and item combinations and replayability. That's a video for another day though. I just think a system like raising animals could provide the same level of replayability, and I'm not even talking about an in-depth breeding system in this game, where you could even get god roll types of animals, but they could even do something like that. Come on, tell me having a max stat Lord of the Mountain wouldn't be awesome. In my opinion, they already almost had it perfect with Wolf Link, aside from the fact that he's an amiibo exclusive. They just had to make it so that you could tame him somewhere in the game and upgrade him over the course of the game, and maybe even add the ability to control him to reach areas Link can't normally, similar to the command melody. Make it so that we can tame other kinds of animals, and even control them with an item like the Hiyoi pear from Wind Waker, or even the command melody, something like that. We were already so close in Breath of the Wild with taming horses, and even the ability to ride deer and bears. We already have the options. We just need the implementation of a good companion system, and Nintendo could strike gold. But what am I saying? They already did that with Fuse. If there was one mechanic I could add into Breath of the Wild, it would have to be that, including other animals of course. Having a companion character was something we didn't really have in this game, so this could provide a good alternative. Level up and have a companion grow by your side over the course of the adventure. Now what would be more immersive into the land of Hyrule than that? With all that being said, that's my idea for animal taming in Tears of the Kingdom. This is my first larger scale theory video, so let me know how I did and your thoughts on the theory below. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Most of you guys aren't subbed, so let's change that. And don't forget to join the Discord from the description below and consider becoming a channel member. I also have a Ko-Fi if you want to support me there. Special thanks to these people who are channel members, and I'll see you guys in the next video.